If you're in struggle right now and you are grasping, you're desperate to grasp something to hold on to, something that will feel real and secure, I want to talk to you about that today, right? Because I've been in your shoes. I was so desperate to learn about myself because 10 years ago, the life that I was leading was crumbling before me. So just like it is today, the world, I mean, I believe, and I think you can just look out in the world and notice that it's crumbling. It is really crumbling before us. So what are you holding on to? When your whole world starts shifting, what are you holding on to? Right? You need something to hold on to. And what you need to hold on to is yourself. You need to learn how to trust yourself. You need to go into that inner guide within you and let it speak through you, because that's the guide that's connected to higher consciousness. I like to call the higher consciousness divine intelligence. Some people call God. Some people say it speaks to your heart center. Some say the Holy Spirit, Buddha, Allah, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is to you. Just align with that more so than the logical self. Because we're seeing in this day and age, and it's really becoming really apparent, we can't run from it anymore. I mean, I've been around a long time. Look, my hair's gray. So I've been around for a long time. You know, 60s was a cool time. I was very young at that time, but people were kind of speaking of this. But then the 70s and 80s, we kind of got 90s, we got all swept up back into the illusion of the external world holds all your answers. It doesn't. And that's why I'll tell you right now, I'm going to give you a big clue right to start off. 2 minutes in, right? Mark this, because I don't know how to do all that stuff. But when you are feeling depressed, anxious, overwhelmed, angry, frustrated, whatever it is, you know why you're feeling that? Okay, I'm going to tell you why. It's because that divine inner self, I talk about this in my book. I wrote a book about this, all right? Unpack your personality. Let your inner guide be your travel guide. Well, this applies to everything in your life, right? Not just travel, but your life. Because you don't shift when you're traveling. You don't shift in business. You don't shift in relationships. You are who you are. And you're going to show up that way no matter what situation you're in. But let me tell you that answer to that. It's because that inner guide, like I used to call it, the divine intelligence within you, that spirit mind, is butting up against that logical mind. It's saying, hey, over here, listen to me. I got the answers. If you just listen, if you get your head out of your phone, I was going to say out of your, you know what I was going to say, but I won't. But stop being distracted. Stop the hustle. I don't live in any of that. So can you see why you'd be so frustrated? Because you're over here doing and busy and working 24/7. You're on your phone. You're scrolling, right? You're hustling. You're not giving yourself time for stillness, to slow down, to listen to what that voice is trying to tell you, right? And it's not only listening. It could be a subtle sign, you know? It could be something subtle. And I'll give you an example. A friend and I, we went to Bellingrath Gardens here in Mobile, Alabama. It's beautiful. I thought I was in Europe. It was a beautiful place. It's on Fowl River. It's gorgeous. So we get up, we have all this planned, right? And it's starting to rain. So we're like, damn, should we go? And then we're like, nope. We made this commitment. The hours worked. Everything was flowing. It's going to be fine. So we just stuck to it, you know, because we were in flow with it. We were like, no, we arranged everything. It's going to work. So we're on our way, and it starts raining hard, you know, because we're in Alabama. That's what it does. It's like all of a sudden it's clear, and all of a sudden it's like, boom. It's raining. We're like, what do you think? We're like, we're going, you know. My friend Nicole, I was with, she goes, we got umbrellas. I was like, yeah, who the hell cares? Let's just go. So all these things, like all those external things in the world were trying to distract us, right? But both of us got the message. It's go time. We're going. And we went, and it was the most perfect day. The rain stopped. It was overcast. It was a little bit cool because it was windy. And so here we are in this beautiful garden, and everyone's saying, it's the perfect day to be here. You guys picked the perfect day. And we're like, yeah, we know. Our guides told us to do this, right? So, and it was that little thing, but you have to listen to it. You have to be aware of it. You have to say yes when it shows up, right? And this is where the sticking point comes, because listening to this, these little whispers, it's like, go ahead, do that. It'll be good for you. Or just wait. Just wait on that. Give that you're not ready for that. There's some work you need to do yet. So just wait on that. Before the ego goes, I can do it. I'm going to do it. I can do it by myself. I'm independent. I don't need anything. I don't need your help. Blah, blah, blah. You know how the ego is. It just does that. And it's really just trying to protect you. But you have to override that and get into the whispers of your soul. Right? And that's what many people don't realize. And this is what I mean about spirituality. It's not rolling out a yoga mat. Sorry, I'm getting flies all over me. It's not rolling out a yoga mat. And maybe for you, it's not even sitting in meditation, because that's not your personality type. If you're an active traveler, I think it's ISFP. I have to look real quick. But if you have an active personality type, yeah, ISTP, sorry. Or an ESTP, or an ESFP, ISFP, you don't want to be sitting around on a yoga pillow or meditating. You're active. That's your personality type. So if you've tried meditation and you're one of those types, you're gonna be like, this isn't working for me. Of course it's not working for you. It's not relevant to your personality type. It doesn't sync up, right? With the traits within your personality type. That's why I talk about spiritual personality typing. It's all related, right? So these are some insights I want to keep on sharing with you on this video. So my name is Nina Zapala. If you're new to this channel, I talk about spiritual personality typing. What is that? I use the foundational aspects of Myers-Briggs, which was launched in the late 1940s on the heels of World War II. Myers and Briggs were students of Carl Jung, who is, like, some people call him the depth psychologist, because he goes deep. He goes really deep. And that's why they decided to create what they did with Myers-Briggs, because he was going so deep, you couldn't understand it. A lay person was just like, what is he talking about? It was so deep. So they created something that was a little bit more relatable and practical. I'm doing the same thing. I want you to take the practicality of what I'm teaching and apply it to your life, so you can discover and lock into your true self and lead a true self lifestyle. And what I mean by true self, just living your truth. Just living through your truth. It's being totally who you are. It's allowing yourself to be. It's allowing yourself to become the person you want to become. And when I get clients, they're like, well, I don't know who I want to become. I'm like, okay, because you're so attached to this external world that you haven't listened to this inside. It's going to tell you. I trust me. A 7-year tsunami taught me all this. My studies with a psychologist, spiritual psychologist, Dr. Nix, helped me. She schooled me in how to do this. A certification in Myers-Briggs showed me the insides outs of Myers-Briggs. All of this has culminated in a new thought theory, spiritual personality typing. It's a contemporary Myers-Briggs for these transformative times. So if you're asking yourself, who am I? How did I get here? How do we do this? Who do I want to become? Subscribe, like, share, do all that YouTube-y stuff, right, that you have to do. But I appreciate it because it helps the algorithms find me, you know? And I totally believe Aisha Ophelia, she was one of my clients. She's awesome. Find her on Instagram. She's great, at Aisha Ophelia. But she talks about be your own algorithms, which I love that, because it is, because we're all energy. It's such a cool thing. I was like, yeah, girl, that is so good. But it's true. So be your own algorithms. But so for you that want to help with this energy, and you have like-minded energy like me, like, subscribe, or share. Okay? So let's get into this. I don't want this to go too long, because I really want you to get bite-sized pieces of this, so it can kind of sink into your brain, and you can take a little other step and another step. So you're seeing results after you listen to this video, right? So let's just look at this. Let's just take a look at this. If you have a journal or notebook, something you want to take out and take some notes, that's probably a good idea, because I'm speaking about something that I don't know a lot of people are speaking about. I know that it's been done. I know, Carl Jung talked about, levels of consciousness and so forth and so on. And there's other people that talk about, I think it was Anne Frank that talked about knowing that your words come from your soul, and you speak through your words. Your soul speaks through your words out into the world. So I'm not doing anything that's like, oh my God, but what I've done is I've taken it and tweaked it to a point right now in the place that we are in society that's very relevant to you. If you're seeking, if you want to know who you are, if you want to get out of all the chaos and create a life that's built around who you are, not somebody else's narrative, not somebody else telling you what to do, not somebody else telling you what to believe, not somebody else telling you what your values should be or shouldn't be, or what you can do or are capable of doing. That's the natural. And there's nothing wrong with the natural. But I want you to reach supernatural levels. And you can do that when you start tapping into your higher consciousness, because it's already there. You're already there. Like, everyone's like, what's my purpose? It's already in you. I'm not going to tell you what your purpose is. You already know your purpose. I just guide you into it. Right? It's in you. So, what I talk about, let's get into this now. So, if you're feeling all the frustration, if you're feeling like, God, I can't do this, man. I'm so overwhelmed. There's too much stuff going on, and you just keep on getting caught in all that, right? You're getting caught in those narratives. Wars, gender identity, politics, social status, being a millionaire, being perfect on Instagram, whatever it is, whatever they're feeding, whatever today's news feed is talking about. First of all, turn off the news, because that doesn't help. And secondly, I want you to start stepping back from that. And the time you spent scrolling on your phone, being on your computer, on TV, even watching a movie, right? Step back from all that, right? I want you to start with 20 minutes. Oh my God, if you don't have 20 minutes to help yourself, to become more aligned with yourself and sit in stillness with yourself and listen to what your inner guide, that divine spark within you, the Holy Spirit, God, Allah, your higher consciousness, your soul, your heart center is trying to tell you, then you're not for me, because you need to devote that. You need to be committed to that. Because like I'm telling you, that inner guide, that divine intelligence is trying to speak to you. It's trying to pull you back to itself. It's trying to welcome you back to you. And that's why you're so distracted. That's why you're so in fear. That's why you're frazzled. I know, I did it. I did it. So I'm not sitting here telling you I haven't done this, and I still do it. And I've got to pull myself back and get quiet with myself and go, what do I really want? And guess what? When you ask, you'll be shown in subtle ways. So let's talk about this, because people think about spirituality like, oh, I've got to go sit in a cave. I've got to be on a mountaintop. No, you don't. I don't care if you go lock yourself in the bathroom for 20 minutes. If you got kids and it's noisy and you're a mom, but trust me, I know, I've been there too. Shut the door. I think Goldie Hawn said that, like her altar's in her bathroom because she shuts the door and just gets really quiet. You have to find the time to get quiet with yourself and let that inner voice speak to you or say a prayer to it. You know, my favorite prayer is, divine, please show me, and it'll show you. You just have to ask. Now that works for me. For other people, especially people that have sensing traits, they'll want to maybe be a little bit more aware of things that are happening around them. Maybe a symbol comes up for you, or maybe you'll see a sign, like a book. A book will show you something like, oh, I was just asking myself something about that, and that'll come up. Or maybe you're visiting on a website and you're reading this one thing and it clicks over to something else, and you're like, that's it. I did that just a couple weeks ago because I love flowers. And I just got this great book on the consciousness of flowers and how to heal yourself through flowers. And I've always known that, but now that I'm like, ooh, like-minded people know that too. Those are the kind of little moments. It's little things. It's the little whispers. It's not some grand thing. Oh, I'm awakened. Doesn't work like that. For me, it didn't. It just doesn't. You can't awaken all at once. It's like peeling back the onion, right? Peeling back the layers. You peel back, you learn, you stop. You peel some more, you learn, you stop. You journal. What am I learning through my challenges? What are my challenges trying to tell me? Right? This is my take on spirituality. It's seeing the symbols. It's listening to those little messages. Maybe you meet somebody that you randomly, right? You're at the store and you start talking and they say something to you and you're like, whoa, I need that. I need to think about that. They just bring something like right front and center that you've been contemplating, and they said it so well that it just sparked. It just like was like electric in you. You're like, whoop, oh my gosh, I need to pay attention to that. And so when those moments happen too, write about them. Just jot them down on your phone or wherever, in a journal. Don't forget about them because they're important. Those little sparks are important. They're here to teach you and tell you something. Now, I'm not saying don't light a candle or meditate or do yoga. Those are all great things. But what I am saying is try to understand, know your personality type so you know which of these modalities work best for you, so you can put them into a daily practice so you can get into that stillness. You know, I know so many active people that running is their thing. You know, I do meditative walking. I get the best ideas when I walk because I'm a fidgety as hell person, right? I'm fidgety and I'm like squirrel. I'm always thinking. But when I walk, I'm so absorbed in nature, my thinking shuts down. And that's what you want to do. If you're a thinking type, if you're a feeling type, you want to shut those feelings down too. You just want to shut all that down. You want to shut the brain down and just get into this place of just flow. And flow is like a level of energy that's just very clear. It's just thought. Now take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Exhale. Flow. Get really quiet. Get really quiet. There's no voices. There's no buzzing. There's no clicking. There's no ringing. It's just quiet. It's just quiet. So that's why you want to get into that flow state for that reason, right? So let's flip over now to personality typing. So there was an exercise to do that. And when you feel, let me go back to something here real quick. When you feel you're out of control, like you're in a situation and it's just like overwhelming, you're like, oh my God, I can't do what I just did. And I have this little breathing technique that I pull out all the time. And I just imagine, for me, I'm visual, so however you do it, you might be more tactile. You might want to have like a little bead or something in your pocket, you know. I'm visual. I use like a balloon analogy where I'm just blowing up a balloon. It's a red balloon. I blow it up, breathe out. First I breathe in, blow up the balloon, breathe out. I do it like 3 times. So like I said, for somebody that's more tactile, you might want to go ahead and have, you know, a sensing type would like this, you know, have something in your hand, you know, that you can touch. It's tactile, you know. If you're a feeling person, just try to bring up a joy moment. So like for me, it would be the gardens, you know, just being in that rose garden. Like I'm there. It was so beautiful. It was this beautiful round garden. There was little benches, and I forget what they're called. They're not really gazebos, but they're little bench settings all around with this great arboretum. And beautiful. And I can just see myself there, and a fountain, and the beautiful fountain. That's another thing you might want to do if you're sensing. You like to hear, you know, you're sensing, so you're, you know, and extroverts too. They're very welcoming in the world. Introverts are more reflective. They want quiet. They want stillness. And so stillness is probably easier. No, not probably. It is easier for introverts than extroverts. But you still have to find your way, because I'm going to get into this now with personality typing. Personality typing is 1/3 of who you are, right? It's very important to know your personality type and the foundational aspects of it, because it's these characteristics that kind of define how you show up in the world. Are you an extrovert? You know, you show up because you embrace the world. Are you an introvert? You're more reflective. You know, the external world doesn't excite you as much as it being in your head and observing and seeing and just being this contemplative person, quiet, right? All the traits are the same thing. Sensing and thinking. Sensing and intuition. Sensing is more externally oriented. Even when you're intuitively, but let me back that up. External sensing is externally oriented, while introverted sensing is more introverted. So how do you take it all in? You got to digest it a lot. It's going to be a slow roll for you. When maybe an extrovert sensor, like, oh yeah, I got it, blah, blah, go, right? And it's just these traits. It's how your traits work, right? Same with feeling and thinking. You have an extroverted and you have an introverted. So you have to know how to use those. And then you have a judging and perceiving. And these are attitudes in your life. Judging is going to be a little bit more ordered, you know, and there's way more details to this. And let me tell you, I go into it in my book. But, you know, perceiving is you're more flowy with life. You're more spontaneous. You're like, yeah, I can do that later, you know. Just your different attitudes. And it's those 2 inner traits that are really exciting. And I'm not going to go into that now because this video will be too long. But these are your indicators, okay? These are how you function. Those 2 outer, extrovert, introvert, judging and perceiving, are your outer attitudes, right? And the middle ones are your functions, they're traits. How do you function? How do they function all together? So, knowing that, how important they are, that's why I like to call your personality type sacred, because guess what? Your soul uses those exact traits, to express itself in the world. But why that's so important, it's part of your soul purpose. Those exact traits are what your soul needs to evolve and complete its soul purpose for this mission here on earth. You know how important that is? Even though your soul should be leading and informing your life, it relies on your personality type. So honestly, your personality type doesn't really rely on the soul. That's where all the problems, that's where all the friction is, because it thinks it knows better when really, in fact, the soul knows better. That divine spark within that's attached to all that there is, the great I am, God, whatever you want to call it. I don't care what you want to call it. The giver of life. It's attached to that. What is your personality attached to? Humanistic side of you. That's natural, not supernatural. And it's full of all kind of fears and everything, but that's what we're here to learn. So you got to bless that too. Because if you think about it, all those challenges, I told you I went through a 7-year life tsunami, but all those challenges helped me get on my true path, get on my roadmap, find my true calling. And in the meantime, I wrote a book. I would have never done that if I didn't go through that. I wouldn't have known. I would have just kept on sitting here peddling out in the external world, peddling, keep on going, keep on chasing after that want. I want this, I need this, I'm told to do this. I know when I get here, I'll have this. So not true. Look out in the world. And I talked to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women travelers, CEOs, CFOs, multi-disciplined entrepreneurs that are making good damn money. And they didn't know themselves. They're like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean? Who am I? I'm a CEO. Nope. Not it. That's your role in society. Who are you deep inside? Who are you? Who are you? So I'll answer that question. When somebody goes, well, like, what do you do? Who you are? I'm an eccentric. How do I say this? I'm an eccentric, unconventional, rule breaker that loves to write, that loves to put together all the possibilities and patterns and opportunities and make them better, right? I love beautiful things. I love nature. And I love helping people have a better life, figure themselves out, tap into their true selves. That's who I am, and that's what I do. So it's not something like I'm a CEO. Well, all that stuff that I just mentioned shows up how it's supposed to show up, and it shows up differently with each different person because you're different, and I'm going to interact with you differently than I do this person or this person. So how can I define that? I know that sounds really hard, but it's probably a little bit confusing. But if you think about it, how do you define that? And if you just look in your own life and you look at your relationships, don't you have a different relationship with your mom than you do your husband, or with your kids than you do your best friend, or with your dog, or whatever? They're all different. So why you try to define yourself as one thing? You're not one thing. You're not. You are creating and imagining yourself every single day into who you want to become. So how can you lock yourself into a personality type? You can use the traits for sure. I want you to recognize the traits of your personality type. For sure. Because they indicate how you're going to show up in the world. And if you don't know that, well then you're really lost. Because you're just like, why does that always happen to me? Probably because you're introverted and you're putting yourself in a lot of extroverted situations because society says you need to do this. You need to suck it up and be this and play the game. And you're like, I don't really want to play the game, but you're being told to, so you're forcing yourself to do that, and it's causing conflict. It's causing internal conflict, and it makes you unhappy. That's what half the people do in their jobs right now. They're in conflict about it all. So, that's what happens. So, 2 things I want you to do. I want you to start taking time for stillness, at least 20 minutes a day. You can do that. Like I said, lock yourself in the bathroom first thing in the morning. I don't care how you do it. Do it late at night. Then what I want you to do is start to become really aware and being in the present moment. This is big. I know everybody talks about being in the present moment, but it's true. It's where life is. It's where life's happening. It's where life's unfolding for you. If you're stuck on your phone like this, Look around. I mean, I was so like amazed, you know, even at the gardens, people are like on their phones. I'm like, what the hell are you looking at, man? There's roses all around you and you're stuck in your phone? Yes, we were taking pictures. I get it. But we weren't on our phones 24/7. We stopped to smell the roses. I know, cliche, 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 but it's true. How can you be centered in yourself if you're centered in this? That's not where your spirit lives. Your spirit doesn't live in your phone. It doesn't live in the external world. It lives within you, and you have to listen to it. So I want you to start witnessing that as you're out and about. Turn off your phone and start observing the world around you. Observe it. Look at it. You'll start getting messages, because when your spirit speaks to you, unlike your ego who's like loud, we're doing this, I can do it, I'm gonna muscle through. Trust me, I know that. But when your spirit speaks to you, it speaks to you in a whisper. It's like a gentle nod to something. It's like a subtle awareness. So it's very gracious, because it's love. I think it's just love consciousness. It's that higher love energy, a higher consciousness. That's soothing. So, 2 things I want you to do. And then write them down. Write all this stuff down, you know? And even if you're new to this, how does it make you feel? How does it make you feel to be still with yourself? A lot of people have a hard time with that. A lot of people have a hard time with that because they're afraid of what's going to come up. I'm telling you, I just said this worm just like, I'm telling you, it's subtle. Spirit is not going to bang you over the head and go, you're this, 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 and this. That's the ego. And that's why so many people get afraid of this. This is what I want to talk to you about, hacking away from this, you know, spiritual hacks. So you're not like, that's going to happen. I don't want that. Well, that's how the ego works. Spirit never does that. It's loving. It's kind. It's thoughtful. What's different? I know this. I went through it. I'm here to help you, if you'll let me, you know? So again, if you haven't, you might want to pick up the book. It's a great place to start. It's on Amazon. Unpack Your Personality, Let Your Inner Guide Be Your Travel Guide. And it's all about a lot of the things I just talked about. And then in here, I talk about the illusions of the collective, even in travel, you know, and how personality types have been kind of bastardized. I talked a little bit about this on this video, how spirituality type has been bastardized. It's been like, it's made to be something that is external, and it's not external. It's all internal. Everything that you need in your life is already within you. I know it's cliche, but it's so true. And then I talk about, for your personality type, how you travel, so how you show up when you travel. And I give you tips on best places to stay for you, best places to play, you know, what triggers you on travel, what you're really good at travel, like what you can help others with when you travel. Excuse me, my voice is getting dry. I didn't take any water. But these are all things, these are all ways to learn about yourself. And I give you a how-to travel intentionally. So lots more in the book, and the blog's always free, so visit the blog. I'll put some notes. I'll put a blog in here too that I think will be exceptionally helpful. But I gotta go because my throat is getting all wanky. All for now, Nina.